Hi. Um, still, still no idea how to start one of these. So yeah, it's been about 6 months since I did one of these, and I feel like that's twice a year is like a good amount of time to remind people that I have a face and a body, because the way I make videos, I just feel like this weird internet ghost a lot of the time. And I think it's also a good opportunity to remind people, and you might have seen this on the Twitter or in some of the videos, but I've actually got a ton of cons I'm doing coming up. And the soonest is QCon in Belfast. I'm going to be doing that 1 week from the upload of this video. I have a panel on the Sunday at 1 o'clock, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to be a special guest at Anime Expo, which I'm super pumped for. And I have a panel at 7 p.m. the Friday of that one. I can't remember where it is, but you can look it up on the map. So if you're at Anime Expo, see me there, totally feel free to say hi. It's one of my favorite things about doing this job. And then finally, I'm also going to be a guest at Con Bravo in Toronto, or near Toronto. I can't remember exactly where that is, but I'm really excited for that one as well. So that's going to be really cool. Also, I have an Instagram now, because apparently that's a thing people want. So you can find me at super_eyepatch_wolf, because the actual super eyepatch wolf was taken, which I took issue with. But yeah, I'll leave a link for that in the description below. Okay, let's say we do some questions. Do you ever think you could have done better explaining your points in videos? Could you give an example if yes? Oh man, yeah, like totally. It's actually, most of the videos I do, I really feel like by the end of them, man, I really could have done a better job on that one. Like, there's very few videos that go out that I'm like, that was a fucking awesome video. And like, there's some in particular I really feel like I could have done a better job on. The Heroes video for sure, I just don't think that's a great video. It was kind of one of those things where I was really burnt out working on it, and I just think I made a bunch of bad decisions. I didn't give that video the time it needed to breathe properly. And like, if you go to the comments of that video, people are not happy with it. And I think that sucks, because if someone walks away from one of my videos, like, and they're not like satisfied, that I feel like, what am I doing at that point? What else? Oh, the Shonen Jump, the current state of Shonen Jump video as well. Because there was like a ton of mistakes in that video, which was like, oh, that felt so shitty. And I would actually like to do another one of those videos, because I think it's like a really cool resource to be like, hey, here's what happened in Shonen Jump in the last year. And I am looking at doing that, but I think if I am, I'm going to be pulling a lot more people in from that community and having people do more proof checking and do more research in general. So yeah, I think I could always do better, but I think it's important to be harsh in your stuff and always want to improve. Very useless question. Are you a Deftones fan? Yes, I actually saw them live last year and they were fucking deadly. White Pony is one of my favorite albums ever. I love the track Digital Bath, and Changing the House of Flies as well is just mwah. Is there any anime that you think is great, but the irrelevant general consensus say it's terrible? I actually really like School Days. I think that's a fucking great show. Like, it's really garbagey, and I love that about it, because I feel like what School Days is, it's like, whenever people play when a lot of people play like visual novels, like these romantic dating sims, it's like, you try and act the shit and you try and date everyone. Like, that's what a lot of people do. And I feel like what School Days is an anime about how that would actually turn out in real life. And I think that's really funny, because it's like, this guy is just destroying his life and the lives of everyone around him just because he's like, fuck it, I don't know why. And it's just, I really get a kick out of that show. What has it been like to watch the channel grow? Oh, fucking weird, honestly. Like, this was never a plan. I never planned to become a full-time YouTuber, and it's been really strange watching it grow. And especially over the last year, it felt like the channel kind of crossed a lot of gaps, and people know who I am now in a really weird way. Like, even just walking around Dublin the last couple of weeks, I got recognized like 4 times, and it's fucking bizarre. And like, I don't mind it, because I actually like meeting people is super cool. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. But yeah, it's a lot of thinking like, what am I doing? Like, where is this? And like, I do find though, with growth, any amount of growth is never enough. Like, I remember thinking, wow, if only I had 10,000 subscribers, that'd be amazing. And then that becomes 100,000 and then 200,000, and now I'm like, man, 500,000 subscribers would be pretty cool. So I think like if you start looking at the channel like that, it can become kind of a downer, and I think it's important to just keep focused and be like, I'm just going to keep putting out the best videos I can, and you know, hopefully people will still want to watch them. In brief, what is your approach to writing anime analysis? And if I were to DM you my first attempt in anime analysis, would you read it? So my approach changes a lot over time, and I'm actually writing a Word document right now just to document how I do things. Not that it's like the right approach, but it's something I get asked for so often, I think I might as well. And generally what's working for me right now is just sit down, write your first draft, let it be fucking garbage. Just do it, because it's much easier to improve on fucking garbage than it is to stare at a blank page. So I'll sit down for a day, I'll knock out 2,000, 4,000 words, whatever it is, and then I'll acknowledge that's terrible, but in all the ways that script won't work, it'll point me in the direction I actually want to go. And so I'll come back and I'll do a better version the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and as many days as I have to for the script to actually work. And I think that's been working out pretty well for me so far. Don't be too precious with the first draft. The second thing I'd say is I feel like a lot of people starting out concentrate on trying to describe what like a piece of media is. And like that's important and that's valuable, but what I'd say is it's much more important to describe how a piece of media feels. Like, what does it mean to you specifically? You don't need to make any argument for like, this is an objectively good piece of media, because that's going to be boring. Like, I could not give a shit about someone making like, you know, an objective argument for why something's good. I'd much rather hear something like, yo, this is who I am and this is what's important about this series to me. I feel like that is so much more interesting. Like, I will listen to that any day, even if it's for a series I hate. As for the second part of that question, I actually get sent quite a lot of people's scripts, and the truth is I just don't really have time to read them and give feedback. Like, I work 50 to 60 hour weeks most weeks, and it's like by the time I'm done working on my own scripts, the last thing I want to do is read someone else's. And so generally I just don't have the time. But the good part there is you do not need me to read your script. You don't need like your favorite YouTuber to read your script. Just, you know, put your stuff forward with conviction, and that's going to speak just as loudly as like getting something right. Can the LFAB crew play a game together, like stream a round of Mario Kart or Gang Beasts? So for those of you who aren't familiar, I have a podcast called the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast. It is one of my favorite things I do. I'm super proud of it, and I'm really glad how it's grown and the community that's formed around it. We may start looking at moving into video stuff soon, so I'll also leave a link for that in the description. It's generally a really, really good time, so check it out. Is there any John and Brian Yowie fan art? I want some where... Do you have any plans to stream games on Twitch? I would watch you play games, smiley face. No solid plans, but maybe I have a lot of stuff coming up over the next while, so maybe once I get that out of the way, I think I might, because hell, I mean, that sounds fun, and like if people want it, I mean, I'd definitely give it a shot. Do you think Whole Cake Island is the best arc in One Piece post-time skip? Yes, I loved Whole Cake Island. I do have to say, it did fall apart for me a little towards the end. I thought the final showdown with Luffy versus Katakuri, or whatever that, I think it's Katakuri, whatever that guy's name is again. I thought that fight had so much potential, and it felt a little weak by the end of it. It just felt like a bit of a back and forth. But in terms of the level of world building, of Big Mom as a character, of how they kind of reinvented Sanji, I thought it was fantastic. Really, really great arc. What's your exercise regime? You're a chiseled hunk and I aspire to be a fraction as handsome as you are, John. Well, thank you, but I don't know if I'm actually as like in shape as people think I am. I think that's kind of become just like this weird meme. But to answer your question, I do like a little bit of exercise every day. So I'll do a day of yoga, and then I'll do like a day where I go for a run, and then I'll do a day where I like go to the gym and lift weights or whatever. And I think what's most important if you want to get in shape is just consistency. Try and do a little bit every day, or at least, you know, a little bit over a long period is going to do a lot more for you than if you just do like 1 2-hour session at the gym once a week. Like, that's not really going to do a lot in the long term. So yeah, just keep at it, don't give up. Exercise sucks sometimes, but when you get good at it, it feels really good. And it's also like, it's a really good way to blow off tension. Like I'm actually like a really anxious person. I get stressed out kind of a lot. And exercise has been like an amazing way for me to deal with that. I think that's why I kind of have kept it up over the years. So yeah, best of luck with it. I hope I can ask you about wrestling for your Q&A. Did you watch Dominion yet? If yes, how do you feel about it? Yes, I did watch Dominion, and I guess you're specifically referring to Kenny Omega versus Okada. And that was a fantastic match. Like, that was absolutely fucking brilliant. They told a great story. They did it really well. Both those wrestlers are so exceptional. Like, every time they get in the ring together, I just fucking wince at how hard they hit each other. Like, it is grueling. Now, that said, it was actually probably my least favorite of those 4 matches, but I think a part of that is we've kind of seen a lot of what those two can do together, at least at this point in their rivalry. But in terms of it being a conclusion to the story, I thought it was amazing. Like, I love how in the first match, Kenny could not compete with Okada at all. Like, in their first match way back at whatever it was, I can't remember. But then in the second match, it was a little more even, but the distance was still huge between them. But then it ended in a draw, and that's my favorite wrestling match ever, by the way. Kenny versus Okada, number 2, brilliant. And then in the third one, how Kenny just snatched it. But then in this one, you actually felt like Kenny had finally surpassed Okada and he couldn't keep up with him. I thought that was some real ass long-term wrestling storytelling, and it was fucking beautiful. And if you're new to wrestling, check out that series of matches. It is fantastic. Have you ever considered getting into the business of anime direction / production? To be honest, not really. I feel like what I do and what a lot of people do on YouTube is that we take a finished piece of media and critique it. And that is an entirely different skill set than coming up with something just out of nothing, like writing my own story or directing my own series. And I would never make the mistake of thinking that, you know, just because I have some aptitude for critiquing something that automatically means I'd be good at making something. I think they're entirely different skill sets. Now that said, I would actually really like to take a chance at that. Like, I'd like to maybe do my own little comic or something someday. But if I did, I'd be okay with it just being small scale and just being something I work on myself. What is your favorite video made? I would actually say that's a tough one. I actually really liked the Gretzko video I put out recently. I thought that was just quite different from anything I've done before, and it was really fun to make, and I really had a blast doing it. And like, it totally did not kill it views wise, but I was still like really proud of it. The wrestling video would be another one, just because like I really made that video like with the intent of explaining wrestling to people who know nothing about wrestling. And like, the general response to that video, like, I got so many messages from people being like, hey, I think this fucking dumb thing is slightly less dumb now, and that was really cool. Like, that was genuinely so exciting. And then other ones as well. I think I was very happy with my Dragon Ball Z video, and that nearly fucking killed me, that video. Like, I was like comatose by the end of that one, because like it took so much writing and rewriting, and just it felt, I do find that like your favorite things to talk about are always the hardest things to make videos of, because you never feel like you've conveyed enough about them. But with that, and it took like a month to make, I did feel like I got there in the end, which was really made me really happy. And like, there's things about it I'd change, but there's always things about it I'd change. So those two for sure. The Fall of Simpsons video would be one, the Yu Hakusho video would be one, the second One Piece video would be another. I'm really happy with those videos. And again, none of them are perfect, but I think when I think of the ones I'm proudest of, I think it's probably those, because I guess those are all things I talk about, like, you know, my absolute favorite things on the planet, and I'm really glad I made videos about them.
You absolutely work out to anime OSTs too, right, buddy?
Let me tell you, when you're at the gym and you are having trouble, you fucking stick on Before My Body Runs Dry and you will get through it.